Hey, everybody. Welcome to Joe Hexotic Live, Experience, Strength, and Hope. This is Joe Hexotic, aka XO Joe. Thank you for joining us tonight on the East Coast of the United States. It's Monday night at 8 p.m. And I'm so grateful to have a very special guest tonight. Somebody that has never streamed before, who's a Hexican, and whose story was so touching and surprising to me. I had spoken with him on Friday for the first time in great detail. And just amazed at what I heard, and I've only heard half of Crypto J's story. So tonight, my very special guest is Crypto J, and we'll be back right after this intro from Naga Bo. Thank you, Naga.
Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like, be sure to share, be sure to comment. Say hey. Say hey. Say hey. Say hey. Say hey. Fake that heck, fake that heck. 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 Hey, every time I look up, price went up. I go to the store, come back, price went up. Every time I look up, price went up. No matter what I do, price is still going up. Hell yeah. Ching, ching, motherfucker. Ching, ching. I am not a book. Ching, ching, motherfucker. I just keep hitting jackpot after motherfucking jackpot. We still jackpot, bitch.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. This is Experience, Strength, and Hope with your host. I am Joe Exotic. I have a very special show tonight. So, being a member of the Hexican community is very special to me. The gains are crazy and world, life-changing. Beyond that, our community is what's the most important and most influential in my life. I've been blessed, and I'm very grateful to be a part of a community. Everybody here included that's watching, you're all in that same community. And what we do to help one another along the way has been just a beautiful experience. How people have helped me to get to where I am. And now this is sort of a full circle show where my guest, his experience in life is very unique. And it's been dynamic, emotional, tragic, beautiful, and it's a lot. And I'm glad we have some time tonight to go over everything. And I just want to give a shout out to Crypto Vince. Vince is one of my great friends here in Hex, and Vince won a giveaway that I had, and I don't remember the exact details, but as the winner of the T-share giveaway, Vince won not only a T-share for himself, but also a T-share to give away to somebody else, another Hexican. And Vince elected to, at the time, Crypto J had been going through some medical issues and was considering emergency end staking the hex stakes that he had, because that's where he was financially. Something unexpected had happened, and just like a true Hexican, Vince stepped in. What a great heart Vince has. We all know that. If you don't know that, you definitely want to follow Crypto Vince at the very least. He's an inspiration, and Vince reached out and wanted to not only give Crypto J the T-share that he had won, but also he wanted to donate his own that he had won. So he wanted to give both T-shares to Crypto J. Now, we reached out to Crypto J, sent him the T-shares, and we were very, very happy to hear that things have been that was a very helpful situation that happened. And so Jay reached out to myself and to Vince, and hopefully Vince can join us in about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. Once we go through some one-on-one time here with Crypto J and I, I'm thinking Vince may pop on as well if he can. And it's just been a beautiful story to have impact on someone like Crypto J's life when I'm here, because of the impact other Hexicans have had on my life that's been so positive. So without further ado, I'd love to bring on my guest tonight, Crypto J. Welcome, Crypto J. How's it going, brother? You're muted right now. How's it going?
Yeah. Hello, guys. How you doing? I'm doing pretty good, Joe. Thank you for having me on your show tonight. And well, you guys will need to apologize because my English is like not so good, but I'll try to keep on with the conversation, Joe. And
You do
yeah,
say that, but I've had no trouble understanding, and you do a great job. So I'm looking forward to it, Jay. Thank you.
thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I see Vince that he's right there. And yeah, what you were saying like a few seconds ago, what Joe told you guys is that back then, I think it was back in 2020, like around, I think it was May or March. I don't, I can't recall the exact date, but yeah, I was going through some health issues back then. And I was telling Joe the other day that we had the conversation on the at the green room that well, uh, first it all began with it all started with some heartburn issues. Well, at least that's what I thought, and what the doctors also consider it may be heartburn issues. And it was way before then the pandemic hit, like for good here at my country, at Mexico.
Yeah.
and and yeah, I back then I was like going all in into Hex. I had some Ethereum, I was like going back to this crypto ecosystem because I used to uh, uh, invest in crypto back in 2015. I guess it was when Ethereum was launched. And I got into some crypto, like I was investing into IOTA that I don't have anymore. That all those projects that were just kept coming up. And well, then I switched back to the legacy markets. I started investing in companies and the stock market on my Ameritrade account, and I was doing pretty good. But well, then life passed, life went on.
Yeah. Life happened. Then life happened. Yeah.
Yeah, life happened. And uh, here we were. I was living with my girlfriend. We've been together like for about, I don't know, on and off, like 11 years now, I may say.
Yeah.
And back then, yeah, I was like kind of struggling financially because I just came back from working in an at a foreign country. On
At a
we're
I'm
going
sorry. At a foreign country.
at a foreign
Different
country. Yeah,
foreign country. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, it was a different country.
Yeah.
And it was pretty hard, like to uh, mm, reestablish myself here at
Yeah.
my own country. Like I didn't have any connections anymore, and I mean like acquaintances and everything. I had to start like from scratch. So as I told you, I was like trying to accommodate myself back here. So I began working at some real estate development company. I don't know
Yeah.
if that's how you call it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
and I was the head of the digital marketing team.
Awesome.
So well, yeah, I got that job. Like my fiance just told me, like, hey, I just saw this application, and you must apply for it. And I was like, but I don't think I can make it. I don't think I can make it. I was like, also, of course, I was a bit of insecure. And well, I did apply, and I got that position. And I started to invest everything. Well, I withdraw like all my investing from the legacy market that I was investing on back then. And I started investing again on the crypto ecosystem. Then after that, I was I was the one. I was fortunate. I was the ones who got fortunate on getting these Uniswap airdrop thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. And I remember that back then I used to have two MetaMask accounts, so it was a pretty good airdrop to me.
Yeah, pretty good
I
for
was
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I was really surprised. I think it was 400 uni coins on every wallet that you were using back then.
Yeah, so they came out
Uh,
initially at about $1,200 each. Within a couple days, it was up to $4,800, $5,600. You know, most people sold around 24 to 3,500 for each wallet that you had. So if you held on
yeah,
to it, went up as well. But you can't outperform what would have happened if you took that money, put it into Hex, and staked it. So I'm hoping,
yeah.
Crypto Jay, that was the opportunity you had and you took advantage of it. You know,
Not
not
actually.
quite, huh?
No, 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 no. I didn't know Hex
Oh,
when that
wow,
happened.
really?
Yeah, I didn't know
Wow.
Hex. And
Okay.
what's funny to me is I'm gonna tell you how. Well, we're gonna talk a lot of about a lot of things on this stream, but the way I was introduced to Hex actually was because of Richard, uh, like oldest videos, like the ones that he doesn't talk anything about crypto.
Yeah, his
Like,
self-help videos from 2017,
yeah,
2018. Yeah.
uh-huh. And it was because, as you said before, Joe, I was dealing with these depression issues and health issues and more depression because of the health issues. And because I was having those problems, uh, as I told you, I wasn't able like to. Uh, there was a point that I wasn't able to drink a glass of water because I would throw it up,
Yeah.
and that's of course when I got all preoccupied and I made an appointment with a doctor.
So
And
Jay, at that point, you had been in crypto, you were living in a different country, right? And you were you know, starting to feel physically sick for the first time, and it started to basically consume you because of how bad it was, right?
yeah, that was when I was still living at another country.
Another country from your home country, right?
Yeah, another
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was also working at this country like uh, illegally. I didn't have a permit to work over there, and it was well, I did have many reasons to to do that and not to do that. I had all my papers in order and everything, like my traveler papers or my tourist papers,
Yeah.
but I was just working on commissions there, so I didn't consider it like a sin or like anything serious.
So what was
But
the digital marketing? Did that fall by the wayside then at that point? Were you no longer doing that and you were doing this new job in a country that you
yeah,
didn't have papers for?
yeah,
Okay.
that was my first experience as a door-to-door salesman. So I get to know many people who were on like in pretty bad situations due to this job. It was I was selling electricity door to door. So maybe you can have some ideas about the. I mean, it was on at low income neighbors. So yeah, I saw many rough things over there, and it was a very stressful time for me, and not just for me, but also to my fiance, because I mean she's a better English speaker than I, and she knows how to manage whole teams, and eventually she got promoted, if we can say so, and she was promoted as manager for all of the people that we were working at the team. So I had to comply to everything she said and everything. That was it. She's good at doing that. I don't mind. It's I don't mind it.
Yeah.
And it was pretty stressful because we were doing like some plans, like we were trying to save some money so we can come back here to Mexico, and like uh, how you call it, the initial payment of house, the
Down
mortgage, no,
payment. The down payment.
yeah, yeah, to give, like, to give the down payment of house and start like living pretty good. And it was just because some acquaintance of her told her that, like, hey, I got this friend that works at an electricity company. He's the owner. I mean, he's the he's
He's
one
one of
of
the
the
bosses.
old,
Okay.
yeah, he's one of the bosses,
Yeah.
and he's got these new contracts with the companies, and he's in need of some more people that can help them sell electricity plants. So it was like a pretty casual job offer. And my girlfriend, she always knew that I always wanted to go to that country and uh, practice some skills, and get to know other places. That's why she told me. And actually, back then we were on a break. Yeah, we
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
like on a
Separated.
2 year, yeah, separated, like
Yeah.
for 2 years. Then actually I was dating another girl back then, and
Wow.
I just got a call from her, and she told me like, hey, I know that you always wanted to be like working at a foreign country. Here's this opportunity. The I mean, maybe we can go together and try to figure our relationship like out. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, that's fine for me. And yeah, so we stood at that country for about a year or a year and a half, I think. And then we came back to Mexico, and that's well, like a month or 3 months before we came back to Mexico, it was when all the health issues began hitting. Like,
And this country, just so all the viewers know, this is a very well-known country. It's a country that a lot of people from Mexico travel to. They end up working in that country, and so it must be, in a sense, sort of a dream come true, because you were there, and you had you came from a country where there's a lot of desperation, where there's a lot of crime, right? You have to worry about your family, about what you do personally. So now you are in another country that seems to be a grand opportunity. You have now potentially employment. And then, so this employment is obviously off the books, and it's, could you tell me a little bit more about going door to door and who your customer was then, and what was that like?
yeah, we were mostly focused on serving the Latino and yeah, Latino, like Salvatorian people, like Guatemalan people, people from Mexico, that they don't even have like a permit to live at that country.
So
So
what would be called illegals in America. So in America, it's illegal. So basically, if theoretically, if you were in America for this story, you're going door to door as an illegal. Your boss understands that you are. He's the one that hired you. She's the one that hired you. And then your customers are all in that same position. Is that correct? If we theoretically
yeah,
place it in
that's
the United
correct.
States. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
And
that's correct. And
what's that like? Why was that something that you wanted to talk about?
that I thought about,
Yeah, what did you experience?
because uh, I always tell people that I always talk from experience.
Right.
And it's not like it's not like I even want to, or it's like just I want to bitch about what's happened to me. No, that's not my reason. My reason is because I can talk from experience. I've been through many things, and I always like to share this kind of stories and information, uh, because well, there's many reasons why, but one of them, we can call it, but I don't want people to make the same mistakes that I did. I don't want, well, I also don't want people to give up on their dreams. Like, if I mean, if you want to achieve something, just go get it, just go for it, and eventually you will be able to to get that done. Uh,
Jay, it's a perspective that as an American, if you watch the media, you'll get bombarded with people coming over the border, illegals, taxation, healthcare, um, and then in reality, when it comes down to it, there's hardworking, intelligent people that are looking to better themselves, and they're here in the United States and living, quote unquote, illegally, looking for employment, looking for power, looking for everything, right? And so I wanted to just hear specifically about you going through it. Who did you interact with, and what was your experience with those people? Because I imagine they had some very difficult lives, and that's who you were. That was your job to
yeah,
go and sell those people. I imagine the electricity you
yeah.
and I talked about beforehand. It wasn't like these people were getting a good deal either.
No, they were getting like the worst electricity rates that you could ever have ever imagined. And but I mean, well, they're just, uh, to put you on context, they have like the worst jobs. They had the worst jobs over their country. They used to work like, I don't know, maybe for 13 to 14 hours a day, 14 hours a day, and they still have to get home and pay all these bills with the worst rates. But that's what they had to do because they're illegal living that right at that country. And if they didn't, they will just keep their family without air conditioning, and their food will went rot at their freezers because they wouldn't have electricity either. So yeah, it was pretty hard for me to see the situation of all these people that were living like that, because I mean, here in Mexico, you can see that there's a lot of people who live in, what's the word?
Um,
In Spanish we call it paupérrimo, like like the worst,
poverty.
like, yeah, 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 like super poor people. And yeah, I understood why most of that people went to that country and choose to work illegally, because if you see what I've seen here at my country, like in the same social context, it's like way, way, way different. It's just, the government is way different, the education is way different. The education, it the government over here like to talk about education like if it was a human right for the Mexicans. But you got all this bureaucracy happening and going on that they just steal up the budget. And so if you go to a rural area, to a school that's located at some rural area, you will see like the worst conditions there. The classrooms have no ceilings, have no flooring. uh, like there's just this
Jeez.
like brick and mortar structure,
Yeah.
but without flooring, and maybe half of the roof is falling apart, so the kids have to take classes even if it's raining, and there's no free food for the kids at these kind of schools. And I mean, this is mostly in rural areas and marginalized areas,
Yeah.
marginalized
Marginalized. Yeah. Yeah. Marginalized. Yeah.
areas. Mhm. But this doesn't happen like in major cities like the one I live in. But do have like uh, all the security issues that come up with the fact that you live in a third world country that's mostly dominated by cartels and criminals. So yeah, you have to be on the lookout. Like you have to be always prepare for the worst. Uh, it, you, I had some acquaintances, like not really close friends to me, here where I live, that uh, some of them were kidnapped by the age of 18 years old, and nobody knew anything about them. Like for real, like they're gone.
They were gone for a long time with no word from anybody.
Yeah,
And they came back.
no, their
No,
families
they're never.
never knew anything about them.
Wow.
And yeah, it's pretty difficult to try. I mean, I do live at a medium high neighborhood, and I always went to private schools. I never studied at like public schools. uh, but I mean, if it's difficult for people who are, I mean, for mid class
Math.
people
Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
yeah,
As I said,
to thrive on these countries. Now
oh,
imagine how it is for these people.
middle class.
Yeah, as middle class,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's pretty hard to, like change from one class to another here.
Yeah.
Like if you were born middle class, or if you were born like low class, you are mostly staying that same as that same class for the rest of your life, if you don't do something that's like pretty
Extraordinary. Yeah.
extraordinary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right place, right
And
time. Get very, very lucky in life, for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I saw all these things going on with that people over there, and it was heartbreaking to me, because I also had to have this conversation in order to get them qualified for the service, and sometimes people didn't qualify because they had horrible credit scores. Well, they didn't have any credit score, so the companies didn't want to give them any contracts. So some other at some times, some of these people have to get their electricity from prepaid companies, like prepaid plants, and this, like those are like the worst rates ever. And I saw many people who used to work at some factory and some like restaurants, or some dangerous industries, and some of them didn't have like a limb, or like an arm. They were missing an arm. They were missing like their body parts, because they had these work accidents, and well, they didn't have any insurance to cover for them.
Yeah.
So in some way, that made me get even more to become more empathetic at at life in general, not
Yeah.
like at that specific group of people, because I also uh, uh, well, I'm gonna tell you a bit more of my background, so I can lead you to this part of the story.
Okay.
Uh,
And just I know you got a couple of things that we talked about that were just like very almost unbelievable, right? And
yeah.
I two topics I can think of in general, and just to kind of preface it with everybody, I was only able to get to a certain point of your story before I had to go because we had another stream happening.
Mhm.
So I was you and I went through about 45 minutes and went through a couple of these topics, and I just want to let everybody know, like I don't even know where this story ends. So take your time. Like I said, we do have time, and however
Yeah.
however we need to preface it to go through it, Crypto J. It's a miraculous story.
Sure. I I'm willing to tell you that story. Oh, sorry, I closed the window. Yeah. Well, right now I'm 33 years old. I live in Monterey City, close to the United States, like close to Texas, and I don't know, maybe
New Mexico, Arizona.
New Mexico, Arizona. Yeah. And but back in 2001, well, I'm originally from Mexico City. So when I was still a kid, back in 2001, I used to be in. I used to be a mess, and I used to skip classes because my parents got divorced, and I went through this stage of
Rebelling, being rebellious.
rebellion. Yeah, I was like just hanging around with friends, being bad companion. That's when I started smoking at the age of 14, which I'm not proud of course. And
I started, I think, the same age approximately. So we're, in good company.
so, okay, so yeah, uh, and I used to be a very lonely kid. I have a brother. We are just two of us. I just have a sibling. He's 4 years older than me.
Four. He's 4 years older.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's.
Okay.
I'm 33. He must be
37.
30, 37 right now. And well, my parents got divorced when I was six years old, and because they chose to I mean, my dad got another family, and he got married and everything. I still talk with my dad and everything, and I of course I love him.
Yeah.
And but back then it was very difficult because now I get it. Now I get it. Now that I'm 33 years old, I get it that maybe sometimes marriage is just not a thing that may work or it may not work for some people.
Sometimes it's better to
So
part ways for the children, and it's hard to understand
yeah,
as a child for sure. I can't even imagine, but I can see it now as an
yeah,
adult as well.
it was very difficult for me to understand it, but uh, I mean, life just happened to me. It's not like I chose that kind of life to me. So I was my brother and I ended living up with my mom. That's how things work in Mexico. Like most of the time, the
Yeah.
kids stay with their mom. Uh,
Yeah.
and back then, my parents were building this house. They bought uh, some land, like in a pretty decent neighborhood. It was like in a very good neighborhood in at Mexico City. But the thing was, like, when the divorce came up, the construction, like, just they stopped constructing the house. They
Jeez.
stopped, like,
Yeah.
and of
What a
course
time
my
for that to
mom,
happen.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and my mom was unemployed because uh, she made it she made it to college, but she didn't finish her career. So because she chose to be just a homestay mom.
Yeah.
And
Which
but when
the hardest working people in the world, by the way, as I'm coming
yeah,
to find
yeah,
out. I know
and the
everybody
least
says that,
and the
but
least recognized, they
yeah.
say.
Shout out to all the stay at home parents.
Shout
Keep
out,
keep working hard. Keep taking care of our children. Thank
please.
you to my wife, and
Yeah,
I'm
that's a
honored to be
miracle.
doing the same right now. So it's
Yeah,
goes it's got a special place in my heart. It's to stay a single parent. I almost put
yeah.
my wife in that position to be a single parent. So I can imagine what it's like, being a mother and having to raise children with the world not being as open, and supportive to that situation. So uh, that topic is, it's very important to me. And going forward, I'd love to help single parents. I was talking to Papa Boner the other day about what my place here is in Hex in the world, and how involved I'd be politically in anything. And really, I just want to share my experience along the way, and try to inspire others. And single parents, single moms, single dads is, I think, the focus of what Joe Exotic's going to be doing, going forward for philanthropy wise. So,
Mhm.
I'm happy to be touching on this topic, Jay, because it's something I relate to, and as somebody that caused the family to have such a big problem, I don't think much about how that feels to be on the receiving end of it. Family separating, and you being raised. Was your dad influential in your upbringing, or was he gone?
No, he was gone.
He was gone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he was gone. Like for most of the time he was gone. He used like maybe from time to time he dropped some groceries at their house, but most of the time he was gone.
Yeah.
But as I told you, now that I'm more adult, I do understand. Maybe it's not a way to, it's not justifiable,
It's understandable.
but
Yeah. Yeah. You can
it's
understand.
understandable. I
Yeah.
mean, you broke up with a girl that you love so much, and maybe she hurt you in some or other way, and you just don't want to know anything about her. And unfortunately, the kids have to deal with all that crap,
Yeah.
but it's just part of it. And yeah, so my mom has to get this job. And I don't know if you ever, if or maybe you guys or you, Joe, if you ever been to Mexico City. It's a very
I have
stressful
not.
environment. It's
Oh, okay.
like super big, and the distance, like it's like you are commuting to a suburb so you can get to your job. And there's this main street or avenue which is called Periférico, and I mean cars can get stuck there for maybe 2 3 hours on a distance that you may uh,
Very short distance.
yeah, like for the on a very short distance, like I don't know, maybe a 20-minute distance becomes a 3 or 4 hour distance because of the
Yeah.
all the traffic going on.
Yeah.
And yeah, so my mom had to commute to her job every day. So I had to go to school by foot, like every day. So I was like, I don't know, maybe 13 years old. It was when I was 13. And uh, well, my mom had the not so good salary from that job, because back then not so many. It was, I mean, it was like 1990. I don't know, 1998. Yeah, like 1998, 1999. And in
Yeah.
Mexico, it was not so well seen that uh, a woman is like working on its own. It's
Yeah.
pretty weird.
Yeah.
And she got like not so good salary. So uh, I can tell you the amount. It was equivalent to $250 a month on a monthly basis.
Wow.
So she had to provide for us, and she had to uh, also try at least to get some more bricks on the house, so we didn't get any cold, because we had to move to that house.
Wow.
Uh,
Really? So
be,
you moved
be,
into the house that wasn't finished, and did it
yeah, it didn't have any windows. It didn't have any stove. It didn't have any shower. We had to take these baths that, where you place a bucket and you insert like an electric resistance, and it hits the water, and you just shower yourself with a cup or anything you have.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Wow.
that's what I try to tell people, that I'm
Ooh.
I talk from experience, and it's not to victimize myself. It's just I just want to people know that there's a lot of things that there's. I mean, sometimes you can feel life like it's been uh, rough to you, like it's been hard, but there are harder things. And I mean, obviously everybody is fighting their own fight, but uh, you get more empathetic
Yeah.
with this kind of stuff.
Oh, for sure.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and I remember that one day it began raining like super hard, and the sewers like clogged out,
The
clogged.
sewer's clogged up.
The sewers clogged, and most of the black water, like the wastewater, went into our house, and we had to take it out
Oh,
with
buckets.
buckets,
Yeah.
and the neighbors help
Anything.
us.
Buckets. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oof.
until yeah. So at this day in life, until now, I get like pretty nervous when it starts raining. I still got the chills because of that
Excuse me.
experience. Yeah, and well, at that house we didn't have. It was supposed to be a three-story house, but we only had like two floors finished, and we didn't
Oh,
have
so
the
I mean,
railing.
you had a roof though, right? I'm thinking maybe parts of it you
Yeah.
didn't have a roof, so you did have a roof. I mean, I don't mean to
No,
minimalize it. I'm just in my head. I'm
no,
thinking,
yeah,
yeah,
like all the house had a roof,
yeah.
but it was supposed to have this giant dome at the
Oh, wow.
at the stairs,
Yeah,
but
the
that
staircase,
dome wasn't there. Yeah, so we had to place this
a tarp,
how you call it? Not
sheet,
tarp.
tarp, um,
It's
a rubber
harder,
sheet. It's
like a laminated floor,
plastic.
seal plastic. Yeah,
Okay.
like, and every time it rained, of course, some water ended
Jeez.
up in the house. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it was pretty stressful. And back in that house, we didn't have any. How did you call it the last day, Joe? Any railings at the second floor, or
Yeah, railings. Yep.
yeah, we didn't.
Railings on the second floor. Over, so you had a second floor with a balcony, and there was no railing, so you would go up there, and it would be a drop off. Is
It
that what you
was
mean?
like the staircase cube,
Yeah.
and at the second floor, yeah, it was supposed to have this railing, like
Yeah.
so you can.
So you don't fall off either, right?
So yeah, so you don't fall off if you're going up or like at the second floor.
Or coming down, right?
But
You don't have a railing coming down. Yeah.
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 So we didn't have that because I, we were struggling financially. So my brother and I that day we were at we call it kermes, like it's some kind of festival they organize at school, and there are these mechanical plays
Okay. Um.
like
Yeah, I understand
like
what
an
you mean. Oh,
yeah,
amusement park, like a fair,
yeah, like
carnival.
a fair, yeah,
Yeah.
like a carnival.
Okay.
So my mom she stood at home and she was sleeping, and I just remember that she went and picked my brother. No, she picked my brother and I from the fair, and uh, it, we had dinner and everything. We went back to sleep, and while I was sleeping, I remember that I just heard like it was way late, like by morning, like I think I don't know if it's late or early. It was
Yeah.
like 2
Yeah.
a.m. o'clock, and I just remember that I heard this weird noise, like if something fall off or fall down. And I remember I woke up and I went and see to the staircase. I went and looked down
Oh,
to the
wow.
staircase, and I noticed that my mom just fell off from the second story because the phone was ringing, and the phone was right aside the staircase,
Upstairs.
which yeah, upstairs, which didn't have any railing. So
Oof.
yeah, she picked up the phone. She had this uh, how you call it,
In Spanish.
costumbre.
No idea. It's
She likes to walk while
Okay.
she speaks by phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pace.
but she was
Yep.
like kind of sleepy, and she began like walking around,
Yep.
and well, that's why she fell off, because it was all all dark. I just remember that we called the medics, and they went, they picked her up, and she ended up in lying in bed like for about, I think it was for about a year. And through all that year, my brother and I had to take care of her physical necessities, her physical needs,
From
like
that fall, because
what.
it was so bad.
Yeah, because
Wow.
she broke I think there's like the the spine is divided like in some three regions or four regions. I'm not sure, but she broke like the main region. I think it's the fourth, the fifth, sixth, and seven vertebrae.
Yeah.
She broke those, so if she uh, happened to move, she may end up like handicapped for life,
Yeah.
so she couldn't move. She was like she had this
Body cast.
yeah, like a whole body cast. She couldn't move like at all. So
Wow.
we had to go to school. Then once we came back to home, we have to clean her up and assist
Oh my
her
God, Jay.
on everything. Yeah, it was for about a year. And what I was telling you before, Joe, the other day, that the Friday at the green room, uh, that was a pretty weird year to me and to all my family, because that same year, uh, my brother was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, and uh, it was pretty hard for him too, because during high school, and uh, well, people tend to be mean at high school to other guys, to kids tend to be mean. So as he became going bolder due to his chemos, uh, uh, his acquaintances or classmates began like laughing of him, bullying him.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was pretty cruel, but well, that happened, and so he decided to not study anymore. And I mean, in at some point, I understand him,
Yeah. Yeah, of
because
course. Absolutely.
it
That's
may be
brutal.
hard for him.
Yeah, I can't imagine
Yeah,
that.
so
Kids are
he
cruel.
didn't want to
Absolutely.
he didn't want to study anymore. So now he's doing pretty good. He lives at Puerto Vallarta city, and he's an Uber driver, and he's doing good, and he's married already, and
Awesome.
yeah, I can judge. Uh, and well, he got diagnosed with Hodgkin lymphoma, so he went on chemotherapy for about a year and a half, and he's on remission now, of course, but he still have to go on his annual checkups, uh, yearly checkups,
Yeah.
and but in some way he's not able to afford for those treatments, because Uber driver is not well paid here in Mexico.
Yeah.
So he's not able to afford for that. And in some way, I want to be able to provide for him, to be able to pay for those expenses at some point in life.
Yeah.
Uh, and well, uh, then after that, I was this all this being rebel, and I was skipping classes, and I came up. I realized that I wasn't doing any good to my life. I was like just messing around and just goofing around, and like just chatting around with the ground people. And then I realized that I had to 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 have a to change to make a change in my life at that point. Uh, uh, so I was 14 years old at that time. Uh, then an uncle, a brother of my mom, he was living in Monterey City here, where I live now. Where I live now, and he told me that Jay, you're always welcome here at my place in Monterey. You can come with me if you want, like, to push the reset button.
Start
If you
over.
want to
Yeah.
start over
Yeah.
and get better, and it was a good idea to me. So I accepted his offer, and I came with him to Monterey City. And in the family, we have a family business that two of my uncles, well, my grandpa started this business by selling cheese door to door.
Nice. Yeah.
Coincidentally, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, he was selling cheese door to door. It was pretty good cheese, and he got like all this experience through time, and he teach my uncles to do so, and they ended up being suppliers for all these big chains like Walmart, HEB, Sam's, you
Wow.
name it,
Yeah.
Costco, and everything. Yeah, for the cream cheese
Yeah.
with for the cheesecakes, for
Okay.
the raw material
That's right.
for
Yeah.
the
The raw
cheesecakes.
material for all the cheesecakes, all the ingredients. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to work at the family business because they, at least here in Mexico, they always say that they never end like good
Yeah. Oh,
if
it does.
you work
Even
with
here in the
your
United
family.
States, it doesn't end good either. So that's
Yeah,
correct.
yeah. So I didn't want to, but well, my two uncles kept on with the business, and my mother has, six brothers. She's the only female
Yeah.
at the family, and back then I came here to Monterey with my uncle, and he was also divorced. He got divorced like 2 years before I went living with him, and he was dating this woman at the Torreon. Torreon is it's a city that's like, back then it was like, I think it was like 3 or 4 hours from Monterey
Okay.
by car, and now I think it's 2 hours because they did some improvements on the
Oh, wow.
highways, and yeah.
Cool.
But back then he was just he went to Chicago to check on some ovens and big machinery that they needed to for the business,
Yeah.
and they came back, and that was back in 2001, I think. He came back to Monterey, and that same day, I mean, he was barely landing.
He
His
just
plane
got there,
just
right?
got
Yeah.
here. Yeah,
Plane
yeah,
just
yeah.
got there.
And he got home and he told me, "Hey, Jose, you wanna go to? Do you wanna go with me to pick up Martha, which was his fiance back then?" And I was like, "Okay, yeah, I like to hang out with you. I like to chat in the car with you. Why not? You're my uncle. It's fine." So then
You're 14
before
at the
we
time.
yeah, I was 14. So we stopped and eat and got some barbacoa tacos and some menudo, which is something similar to pozole, I think. Maybe if you guys know it, it's something similar to pozole. So we stopped at this flea market to get some barbacoa tacos, and then we went driving to Torreon City. While we were on our way, like we were like an hour from Monterey, we stopped at some store. We had some coffee because my uncle just liked to drink coffee all the time. So we stopped. We had a coffee, and we went straight. We jumped into the car and we went to Torreon again. And I fell asleep in the car because I don't know. I was tired. I was a kid, so I was his co-pilot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when I woke up, uh, uh, I remember that I woke up and I turned to see what he was doing, and I noticed that he fell asleep. He was still driving. We were like going maybe between 70 to 80 miles an hour.
Wow.
On a, it was a small car. It was a Pointer, a Volkswagen Pointer, and I didn't know what to do. I was like, okay, it was just a matter of seconds. I didn't know what to do. I was like, I had this
Yeah.
like
Split second. You wake up and all of a sudden a million thoughts going through your mind.
yeah,
Yeah.
million thoughts. Like in a split
Yeah.
second, I was like, okay, what am I gonna do? He just fell asleep. We're going off road.
Yeah. Veering off the road. Yeah.
We're veering off the road. Okay, so I got three options. So I have to pull the
Emergency
handbrake,
brake. Yeah.
the emergency brake, and I was like, no, because if I do that, we may we
Definitely.
start tumbling or
Yeah. Spinning. Yeah.
so
Spinning out of control.
yeah, spinning. Yeah, so that's not an option. Option number one, I sit up in him and like I hit the brake, but I think I just didn't react faster. I don't know. I was just a kid.
Yeah, you
But
can do something. You can either fight, flight, or freeze. So what did you
yeah,
do? Did you freeze or did you do something?
no, I didn't do something because uh, uh, until the very moment that I was about to uh, uh,
Grab the wheel.
get the steering wheel, he woke up and he like turned the wheel like super fast to the right side. So we went
Spinning
off
out of
road.
control into the
We were spinning
woods,
out of control. Like
flipping
yeah, it was
sideways.
yeah, yeah. We were like this, and I just remember that. Thank God that we had our seatbelts on. Always use seatbelt, guys.
For sure.
Always remember to wear your seatbelt. And well, we started to spin
To flip.
and
Yep.
to flip, and I just like hanged up,
Grabbed a hold of the ceiling to hold yourself.
grab like the ceiling because that was like
Yeah, you have to.
the,
Yeah,
the
I've been in the same
yeah,
situation. Yeah.
it looked like the best idea for me. So
Yep.
I did this, and I just remembered that the windshield broke and the crystal shards
Yeah. Pieces of glass. Yeah.
pieces of glass just scratched my face,
All
and
over
then
your
I
face
blacked
and
out.
head. Yeah.
Yeah, then I just remembered like the car going like this, and we hit the
Embankment.
dirt,
Yeah.
and yeah, I got blacked out, and maybe it took like I don't know, maybe it was 30 minutes to an hour until I came back to myself. I woke up, and I remember that I had this feeling on my arm. It was like hurting pretty bad. It was
Terrible
bad.
pain. Yeah.
Yeah, terrible. And I somehow I managed to open the door, and I walk through the front of the car, and I didn't find my uncle. I wasn't able to see. He wasn't on the driver's seat. He wasn't there anymore.
Yeah.
Uh, so I got out of the car and went through the front of the car, and I also noticed that I have this terrible pain on my left leg.
Left leg. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I remember there was there was a rock. I went and sit at that rock, and then I turned my head to the right, and there was my uncle laying down,
Laid out.
uh,
Yeah.
but like upside.
Upside down. He was facing down. Oh, he was looking
No,
up. He was
facing up. He
on
was
his
looking up.
back, looking up.
Yeah, he was on
Yeah.
his back looking up, and he was being covered by a blanket, if if I might say a blanket. Yeah, it was a blanket, and that was because there was. I remember that there was some trailer guy that was right behind us
A
before the
driver of a
accident.
truck driver. Yeah.
Yeah, so the truck driver saw what happened, stopped, and helped us. And I just remember that once I while I was sitting at that stone, I started coughing blood, and I was like,
Coughing blood. Yeah.
yes, I
Yeah.
started coughing blood, and I was like, okay, it may be because of the, no, I don't know, I got
Seatbelt.
hit,
Yeah.
or
Yeah. For
yeah,
sure.
or the seatbelt, or I
Yeah.
don't know. And once the paramedics picked us up, uh, we were at the ambulance,
Picked up you and your
and
uncle, and you're in the
yeah,
ambulance.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the both of us. And when you are that age, you're always trying to play like
Tough
the
guy.
the
Like
tough
a
guy,
adult. Like an adult. Yeah.
like an adult, and
Yeah.
more in that kind of situations. And I was like, come on, guys, what's going on? Like, how's my uncle? How's he doing? What's happening? Like, what's going on? And they wouldn't tell me. And I didn't understand, because I was like, come on, guys, you just tell me what's going on. I need to know. Is he okay? He's not okay. What's going on? And I was so persistent, or annoying, I don't know, that yeah, they told me like, okay, Jay, your uncle's gone, like, gone. And at that moment I can't describe the feeling that I got. I it was like my body was just like hypes, like hyping, like
You had
chills.
chills from head to toe. Yeah.
Yeah, I had the
Yeah.
chills, and I started sweating. But at the same time, I knew that I have to keep up, that I needed to be strong, that I needed to well, I was on my own, you know.
Yeah.
I was there on my own at a foreign city in your own country, and you don't know anybody, because I just been living here at Monterey like for about 2 months, so I didn't know anybody, just
Wow.
my classmates and the teacher, and some friend of my uncle, but that's it, like two or one or two friends. And I remember that the paramedics uh, take take us took us take us
Yeah.
to
Took us. Yeah.
took us to a hospital that's in Saltillo, which is a city that's between Monterrey and Torreon. And then I was told that I had this, that the reason of why I was coughing blood, it was because my left lung collapsed, and it was just full of blood, and that's why I started coughing blood. And my left leg was broken, and my right arm, that you can see here,
Yeah.
was also shattered. And well,
Wow.
until now, I just can't do this.
Yeah. You
So
you
this
can't
is
move
like
your arm all the way back.
yeah, this is like a
So
reminder a memory of my uncle. But, you
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
maybe it's weird, but I
Yeah,
remember.
no, when you and I
Yeah.
were talking in the green room, it's surprising by how many of us have something like that. I can't move my finger in, and an accident happened to me as well. And it's something that when you lose uh, your ability to do
Mobility.
something physically you've had your whole life, and now your mobility is constricted, and you know it's never going to get any better. It's quite a
Yeah.
trip. it's hard to accept at first. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah, it was hard because I couldn't bathe by myself on the first few months, maybe the first year. I couldn't bathe by myself, so I had to get assistance,
Wow.
my brother or my mother. Now that
Tables have turned.
the story is, yeah, the tables turned. It was weird. And well, while I was there at the hospital, I got this surgery on my arm, uh, because the elbow just shattered because of the pressure that was inflicted on it by the
Yeah.
turner,
Yeah.
flipping.
Yeah.
And uh, just I once I got out of surgery, I how you call it?
Yeah.
I fall into a coma
Oh wow.
because it was so much pain that my brain just disconnected.
Wow.
And yeah, it I was while I was there at the hospital, it was a kind gesture that uh, all of my classmates were there already.
Wow.
They somehow they
That's
found
amazing.
yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah,
beautiful, Jay.
they
Wow.
heard that I was there, and they went uh, and where that's just in the exact moment that I went out of surgery. So they saw me going into a coma. Uh, I was just laying there on the bed, and well, the doctor and my mom tell me that my pupils,
Pupils. Yeah.
they
They
didn't
were
dilate.
dilate. They did not
They,
dilate.
they contracted like to
Yeah.
a point that it was just a tiny
Yeah.
black spot.
Yeah.
And my mom says that the doctor just started like hitting my on my face, like, Jay, don't fall asleep, don't fall asleep. You can't fall asleep. Come on, come on. And then I just remembered that everything. I know that it may sound like uh, uh, some kind of religious thing or spiritual
Spiritual.
thing,
Yeah.
but I'm an agnostic. I do believe in God, but I do believe it like as a whole, not like
Yeah.
cited to a certain religion.
Yeah.
So I, I I remember that I saw like this blue light, but it was just a matter of, I don't know, maybe a second. I don't know if it was longer, but
Was it a
that
bright blue light that
that
was everywhere, or was it a little tiny speck in a sea of darkness?
no, there were just like white silhouettes.
Okay.
You name it. I don't know what it can be.
Yeah.
But I was told that I was into that state of coma for about 15 minutes. So yeah, I just remember that before I came back to myself, I just heard the nurse yelling like, "I got it!" because they weren't able to find my veins because I was so dehydrated and everything that my veins didn't come up,
Yeah.
didn't show up.
Yeah.
And I just remember that I heard, "I got it!" Boom, and she got this morphine into my bloodstream,
Yeah.
and boom, it was, I don't know if it was morphine or adrenaline, I don't know, but I was like,
Probably both.
boom,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe both. And I was just back, and it felt so good to be back. And of course I was like numbed, like
Confused, dazed.
I was confused, dazed, yeah. And uh, I also
Foggy.
remember that, yeah, like all foggy. I
Yeah.
remember that I was facing towards
Up.
the ceiling when I
Yeah.
was laying down on the bed, and I remember that I had the sheet, the just the blanket, like the sheet, like just one layer of the sheet, the cotton sheet,
Yeah.
and my fingers hurt so bad. I, I, by just the weight of the thin
Wow.
shit. Yeah.
Wow.
And well, I was on uh, intensive caring unit
ICU.
for
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
2 weeks,
Wow.
and then I got out of the hospital, and you know what's after that rehabilitation, and I was into this rehab program for about 2 other years, because at the very beginning I wasn't able to move to like
Even
my
bend it at
arm,
all, right? Yeah.
like not even this, like at all. And it
Yeah.
hurted a lot, so it was a painful rehabilitation. And but well, I made it. I made it, and that's why I call myself a coma survivor, because I went through it, and I know what it feels like to be in that kind of situation. And that's also another lesson that I learned from life, that that made me even more empathetic, you know.
I
So
can imagine for sure. Yeah.
yeah, and I remember that when I was a little kid, I used to laugh at these workers, like the house workers, like when they're carrying stuff and everything. They sometimes their pants fell off, and, and you notice
Oh yeah, the
you know,
plumber's crack we call it. Yeah.
yeah, the
Plumber's
plumber's
crack.
crack. Yeah, yeah, the
Yeah.
plumber's crack. And I used to laugh at it, but well, while I was in this other country, I was also working at a construction site, and that also happened to me. And I noticed, uh, I realized it was because of the tool belt, that it weighs
Yeah.
so much and it hurts on your hips, on your
Yeah.
thighs,
Pelvis.
so
Yep. Yep.
much.
Yep.
It hurts so much to be on that like 8 hours a day. And that's why I always say people, I I I, I do know, and I always want to be empathetic at as many people as I can, because I went through many shit that I'm talking from experience. I I try to be uh, uh, kind to people, mm, most of the time. I try my best. It's not like I'm an angel or anything like that, but
Yeah. It's impossible to be
I
kind all the
know
time.
I know life can be rough, you know,
Yeah.
and it's good to have at least someone that uh, can show so empathy to you in some way or
Absolutely.
another. And you gotta, I think that's what we as humans are most in lack of right now: empathy. And we need it desperately. And well, with all this, that was half of my life. That's when I was 15 years old. And
That's a lot to happen before you turn 15. You know, Jay, that's a lot. It's an
yeah,
amazing first 15 years to have to go through up and down and all around, you know?
yeah, and also growing up with so many, how how can I call it? I mean, I wasn't like super poor, but I didn't have like a gaming console or the best computer of, uh,
You
so
didn't have those things.
yeah, I didn't have those. I just had my PS1, my PlayStation 1, and I loved it, but uh, my mother couldn't afford any better, like uh, back then.
Yeah.
And I grew up with this, how do you call it, with so many, uh,
I want to say tragedies.
no, not
No.
tragedies, but like
Um,
missing many things in life, like
uh,
many.
You grew up without many opportunities that you missed.
Yeah, without many opportunities, and without without the best sneakers, or without the best clothes, or without. But that also at the same time made me.
They gave you
Uh,
character. They made,
y-
yeah,
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 yeah.
and I I always said to myself, I someday I want to be able to afford all those things, and don't have to worry anymore for my health, or for my brother's health, or you know. And as life went by, being here at Monterey, I got better, and my mom had to move in because, well, my uncle uh, passed out, and he took charge of that management area, of that.
Your mom took charge of the managerial role that your uncle was in.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's correct.
Regarding you or professionally? Regarding you.
Professionally.
Oh, professionally. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Wow.
yeah, yeah. And then, well, I went back to school. I went to college. I studied international business. I had an international business degree, and I that's when well, before college, I made my internship. Well, where I was studying and working at the same time.
Yeah.
I made my internship at this company, which is called Epicor. Maybe some of you knew it. It's I think it's something. Well, it's Oracle's like rival.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
It's a TI company,
IT.
IT company.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I began doing my internship there, and well, at the same time while I was studying college, and then uh, I began working. Then after that, I got promoted at that company, and I got promoted from intern to, how was the name of the position?
Associate.
Professionals Yeah, as a student,
No. Okay.
professional
Go ahead.
services operations manager.
Oh, wow. That's a good
The
title. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
like, wow, sounds good to me. And
Yeah.
then I got promoted again at that same company 2 years before. Uh, yeah, 2 years
2 years
after that.
ago or 2 years after that.
2 years
Okay.
after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, two
Yeah.
years after that, and I I used to uh, be in. Well, my job was to do this, to compile all this information for all these auto parts stores that you have in the United States, like O'Reilly Motors, AutoZone, like,
Yeah.
name it.
Yeah.
Like, I had to do the consolidated files for the parts, because some car models change from year to another, and then well, that was my job. And then after that, I became I started knowing about cryptocurrencies, because I had a good friend in there, and he told me about Bitcoin
What year
while
would you
we were
say it
working.
was? What year, Jay?
It was 2011.
Oh,
It was
wow.
2011. Yeah, it was on
Wow.
2011, and I remember that when he told me about Bitcoin, I was like, I don't get it. Like, my brain couldn't
Yeah.
understand that kind of technology. I didn't get it. I just knew that that technology was used for some
Nefarious behaviors, right? Some,
yeah,
yeah.
in on the deep
On the
web,
internet.
and everything.
Yeah.
And I was okay. And I remember that it was the Bitcoin price back then was 211, I think. That was
Oh, was it?
Bitcoin's price.
Wow. Okay, I thought it would
Yeah.
be much less back then. I didn't realize it went up to $200 in a couple of years.
Yeah,
That's
I think
impressive.
it was $200 around
Wow.
there.
Wow.
And
Cool.
but I didn't get it. I just didn't get it. And I was like, okay, that sounds pretty cool. And as as time passed on,
Yep.
when uh, I started I started investing at through Ameritrade at the at some companies, at the legacy markets,
Yeah.
uh, you name it, like Apple stocks, Amazon stocks,
All the
yada
blue
yada.
chips. Yeah. The
Yeah,
blue chip
all the
stocks.
blue chips
Yeah.
and some Mexican blue chips also.
Yep. Nice.
So I
I
took
got a tortilla joke in the works there, just for everybody at home with the Mexican blue chips. Sorry, I couldn't stop thinking about it. So sorry to cut you off, Jay. Go ahead.
yeah, yeah. And uh, yeah, that's when I began being when I became an investor, and then I took 3 certifications on 3 stock market certifications. So that's when I realized the power of compound interest.
Yep. Yep.
Compound interest, it was teaching to me by the Discourse, these certifications that I took. They were taught to me by the head of uh, I don't know, head of markets of the New York Stock Exchange. His name was, I don't remember his name, but I was instructed by him, and he opened my eyes up with this compounding interest information theory, and it was pretty interesting to me, because I realized that you didn't have to invest like super large amount of money. You just have to be like
You just got to get
constant.
started. You got to get started
You
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 You gotta get started, and you have to be patient in order to get this interest compounded. And that's with legacy markets. I mean, stocks give you this compound interest. So then in 2015, I that's when I began investing in Ethereum and IOTA and many other projects. And well, until I think it was October 2019 that I met Richard Hart
That's a
through
great time
his
to meet him.
yeah,
Great
yeah,
time, Jay.
through his videos, because of all this disease that I've been dealing with. Uh, I was suffering from depression, and now I own a business. I have an associate, and we do digital marketing for many businesses here over Monterey. So we
Awesome.
do social media and you name it, email campaigns and stuff. But I was having this uh, pain in my stomach. I couldn't breathe well way before COVID, just to say it. And I was under so much stress, not and I don't want to place it as an excuse for me for doing that, that I started again to smoke a lot of weed. You know, I began smoking lots of weed. I mean,
Jay, were you
three. Ye-
living in a foreign country, or are you back in Monterey?
no, back in Monterey. That
Okay.
was back in Monterey. Yeah.
Okay.
So I began smoking a lot of weed, like I don't know, maybe 6 to 7 joints a day, while working on my customers, social media, and having calls and having meetings, business meetings, and everything.
I think a few
And
people at home can probably relate to that in this space, for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. And when I realized that I actually have a problem was the day that we were attending to this business meeting with a client, and I was driving with my associate, and I was smoking weed while driving.
Wow.
Yeah, and I didn't notice that there was a cop in a motorcycle in one of the most uh, dangerous, not dangerous, but most strict places that like locations around the city in which you're not supposed to be doing that.
That sounds pretty scary. This is the part of
Yeah,
your city where you can't do that. That's
yeah,
I can
yeah,
imagine what could happen. So
yeah. So I remember that the cop just knocked on my window, and I was like, "Shit, man!"
as the passenger, or you were the driver?
I was driving.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but I didn't realize he was there, and it was at that moment that I realized that I had a problem. You know,
Yeah, you weren't
I
making
was
good
dealing,
decisions. It slipped your mind. You didn't even realize where that you had been doing it so much. Yeah.
yeah, and I was under so much pressure, depression, and physical pain that I started using with like a lot and in so frequently
Yeah.
that it numbed my mind, and I couldn't make any like thoughtful decisions, like.
Yeah.
And I remember that my girlfriend told me, like, that's it. If you don't get any better, that's it, because I'm not going to deal with this shit. I'm not supposed to be having all these uh, problems and everything. And that's when I said, you know what? I'm quitting it like super cold turkey.
Yeah.
But then that's when depression came up. Like even that I experienced so many bad things in life, I never, never, never have been depressed so much that I started becoming suicidal. And that was because I cold turkey the weed like instantly.
So what?
My
So when you
brain,
cold turkeyed weed, you became so depressed that you were suicidal, or you
yeah,
never reached that? Oh, you did. Okay. All right.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah.
cold turkey it, and I became super depressed, and I started to have these suicidal thoughts. And it was just because, of course, my brain was used to have that
Yeah. It's depleted.
stimulant.
Yeah, and you're
Yeah,
looking
and
for serotonin and what's the
my
other one?
serotonin
Yeah.
was fully
Yeah.
depleted. My oxytocin was fully depleted. My
Yeah.
dopamine was fully depleted. So my brain chemical balance was like all messed up.
Yeah. For sure.
So it was pretty rough because I started having these panic attacks episodes, and I started having these anxiety attacks also. And when you are well, most of your friends are there with you. But and they're supposed to be with you even through the uh, on the for the
Supposed to
good
be.
or the bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Supposed
what's
to be.
supposed to be. But for me, being such an introvert and such an uh, mm, like I always been more like a lone wolf.
Yeah.
I tend to make things on my own, and I like to not receive help or to not being helped. So I didn't tell my friends, and for the small of the list of them that I told what I was going through, they were just like, I'm busy doing my stuff, you're gonna get better, get well, blah blah blah, yada yada.
Yeah. I
And
know.
it was pretty hard. So I started looking for answers. We got internet, we got you name it. We got tons of resources at our reach
Yeah.
nowadays.
Yeah.
So I began looking for some meditation courses and some change of diet plans and everything. And that's when I came up to Richard's videos.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It wasn't uh, anything related to crypto. And I
That's
was like,
awesome, Jay. That's
I'm
beautiful.
gonna, yeah. And I was like, I want to know more of this guy, you know, because when you're browsing through YouTube, there are like recommended videos and everything, and I just clicked on those recommended videos, but it didn't happen to be the first video he uploaded. So I was like, who's this guy? Let me check his channel. And I went all down to his first video, and everything started to make sense to me. It was like, okay, what this guy is telling is, I mean, it makes sense. Everything, because if any of you guys haven't seen any of Richard's first videos, I really recommend you to do so, because there is a lot of valuable information
Yeah,
that
it's
he's been
jam
sharing with
packed.
us.
Yeah, go
Yeah, uh, and just because I met him and I saw those videos, I started, and I chose to trust into getting into Hex. Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah,
then I started watching Yo at this Mari Allen live therapy
yeah, yeah,
with Karim, and I started watching the Hexologist streams also, and it to me it was like such a great community. It was like in such the right moment in my life,
could say that again. That's
that
for
I
sure.
was in
Yeah.
so much need
Oh,
uh, to communicate, and to, because at least here where I live, it's pretty hard, at least, to know one people that know anything about blockchain. It's
yeah,
pretty hard,
yeah.
and you feel like, man, I'm this is new to me, and I'm excited about it, but I don't have anything to
Nobody to
chat
share
about
it
it
with. Yeah, no one to talk to,
yet,
nobody to
or to
share it
share
with.
it, or
And then
if you
all of a
start sharing
sudden,
sharing with your acquaintances and friends
they don't
at
care. They don't want to
party,
hear
they
it.
don't care,
Yeah.
or you're the weird guy that talks about crypto the whole time. And but I also noticed that the community was super, super, super uh, kind, and they also been through. I was reading all the tweets, like they've been through hard stuff in life also,
Yeah.
uh, on which in some way I felt the connection. I, I I felt connected with the community, and I started helping people, and I started chatting with some others, and helping some others, and everything. And uh, well, that's it. That's the part of my story until now. So now I'm doing pretty much better. I'm still dealing with some health issues, of course, but uh, I try to keep on going. Uh, I try to stay motivated. I try to keep learning, and mm, teach people about Hex, and share this awesome and amazing product that Richard uh, made, created. And actually, my mom decided to invest into Hex back in May of this year,
That's incredible.
and she used to have all of
At the
her
beginning of May?
at the beginning of May.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
incredible.
I know, right? Yeah, and yeah, she had most of her holdings were Bitcoin and Ethereum, because I told her to do so.
Yeah.
And then I told her, I uh,
Got something
I came
special
out.
going on over here. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, there's something special. You should try it. She downloaded Staker app, and well, back then she invested like, I don't know, maybe uh, f-
A large amount
five.
of her savings.
Yeah,
a
Yeah, it
large
was a
amount of her
large amount
savings.
of her savings, and
Yeah,
now she's up like pretty
5x.
much, maybe more.
Yeah, at the least a 5x, at the most a 25x, depending on when she bought during that time, or 12x,
It,
a 5
it,
to
w-
12x, I believe,
it was a 5K investment,
and it's
and
at
she's now 50K in.
so
Uh,
10x. Wow, more than a
yeah,
10x.
yeah.
That's incredible.
So
And we've
yeah,
had 3 full months though. I mean, to be, we've had 90 days, so that's an
yep,
incredible amount of money in that time. What a return.
yeah.
That's
And what I
that's
what I
beautiful. I'm happy.
always
Go ahead.
no no
I
no
didn't
go
know
ahead.
that from the other day, and to hear that your mom is a Hexican as well is a beautiful touch to the story. So, thank you for
Yeah,
sharing that. Yeah,
yeah. She's doing awesome, and she's super excited, and she's super happy because of what I told you. She's been through many rough times, and she's doing pretty well right now. And what else? And I guess that's
and
it.
so how is life looking as far as your brother these days? Then is are you going to be in a position to help him out? Are you currently? Does it look like you will be
Uh,
able to?
Not yet, not
Okay.
yet, because as I keep dealing with this sickness or with this disease, I still, it's like I have to keep working. Most of my work goes into medicines and medical appointments. So
Yep.
I'm not able to invest like super hard on Hex. I wanted
Right.
to be a dolphin, but uh, uh, that time when Vince and sent me those hacks, uh, it was one of the worst phases of stages of this condition that doctors are still clueless about.
Yeah, so
So it's
we didn't really touch much on it, Jay. I don't know if you wanted to touch a little bit more on it, but what was amazing to me is like I just thought you were a nice guy that was going to say thank you to myself and Vince. I didn't realize that we had an impact on your life and that we made it,
you did.
better, and so did we,
Yeah,
as I'm like trying to go through my day, meet you for the first time, you're telling me this story and I'm like, this is just like everything that I'd ever hoped to be a part of. That this is full circle, that I'm able to influence somebody in a positive manner in the exact space. And today I'm on the exact channel, on Discourse Syndicate
yeah,
that
yeah,
influenced me so positively, so I was so excited for this whole weekend, talking on Telegram, letting people know that this is happening because your story, you and I coming together, having this stream, this is really like what's impactful to me. And I'm not going to remember, in a month that we were at a quarter today, but I'm going to remember the smile on your face right now and the stories that you
yeah,
shared with me and the emotions that you shared. And, this is why I'm here, is to meet people like yourself, Jay, and to hear the obstacles you've overcome. Any one of these obstacles could level somebody so that they never amount to anything, and you and rightfully so. It's not that it's amazing when somebody has so much struggle, so much to overcome, so much pain too, physical pain, right? Like I think I'm a tough guy, right? And I'm pretty tough. I can handle pain, but there's like something about pain that's constant, that never goes away. That's physical pain. It can start to drive you crazy, and you can start to seek out medications and alcohol and drugs, and to have you here through everything you've been through, to contact Vince and I and come on to share your story. Our community is so powerful. And I just want to thank everybody for spending your time here with us. And Jay, thank you for, coming on. And I'd love to, just hear a little bit more about, you getting sick. So you were having trouble breathing. You
oh
had
yeah.
some,
Uh, when I came back to Mexico, I began with these heartburn issues, and I thought it was because of the pizza. Maybe I'm lactose intolerant, and
yeah, you were in a
so
foreign country and the food was different, right? So it could just be that,
uh
right? Yeah.
yeah, so it could be just that. But then I came back to Mexico and I had another pizza, and I was like, what's going on? I began with all these heartburn issues again. But I remember that it was one day that I was lying on my bed. I was like about to sleep. Maybe I was maybe I was sleeping like for 10 minutes, right there. And I began coughing like a lot, coughing. And I think that at that time I broncho aspirated, like when part of your acid stomach goes into your lungs because you are coughing so
Whoa.
much. Yeah, so many bacteria can grow there. So, but that's just me. That's not what the doctors tell me. But I remember that when I was smoking a cigarette, and I felt like if it was lightning strikes all over my lungs, like the bronchia, like it
Yeah.
was
Yeah. I
like
know. I know that
it,
feeling.
it
Yeah.
was like burning.
Yeah.
And it was like 3 or 4 months before COVID, this pandemic. So I knew it wasn't COVID. It wasn't even mentioned. And then I lost about, in a matter of maybe 1 or 2 months, I lost 11 kilograms. What's the equivalent for 11
24
kilograms?
pounds, 22 to 24 pounds, I think.
Yeah, in just a matter of like a month and a half or maybe 2 months. So that's when I started getting preoccupied, because I was, what's going on? I always work out, and I tend to be uh,
Healthy guy.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I do have a healthy diet, at least what I consider a healthy diet. I don't drink too much soda. I don't drink too much alcohol, but I don't know what's going on. So I started getting these medical consultations because I was worried, and doctors are up until now, they're still like clueless. They don't know what's going on, and it's super frustrating because it's not like I'm going to the cheapest places in Monterey. I'm going like pretty well-known hospitals in here and receiving pretty good like medical attention, in such way that, as I told you, most of my income goes into
Yeah.
medical consultations and everything.
Yeah.
So it's pretty frustrating because it's almost or maybe a year and a half that I've been dealing with that stuff, and I I just need to keep getting my inhalers every time that my lungs or throat starts to feel like weird.
So you went to
And
the
I don't know.
doctors. It was before COVID. They started treating you maybe for allergies, one thing after another, test
I
after
I
test.
got I got like a bump of medicine. Uh, I got this. Wait a second. I got like first I had this treatment for heartburn, and it was a 3 month treatment, but it didn't work. So then after that, I went to my otolaryngologist,
I think it's an ear, nose, and throat doctor, from
ear,
what
nose,
I
and throat
remember.
doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I went with him, and he was like, "Oh, Jay, but maybe it's that you're just allergic to cat." Uh, but I was like, "Come on, man! I know how an allergy feels, and I've been allergic to dogs and cats like my whole life, and I never experienced the symptoms."
Yeah.
So I went with him, and he's still clueless about it. So I decided to go to, we call it here, internista. I think it's internist over there.
Oh,
It,
internist. Yeah. GI
it,
specialist. Uh,
yeah, I went to
yeah.
a GI specialist, and I had this. gastro
Gastroenterologist. Yeah,
endoscopy.
endoscopy, and then there's another one. In both ends. Yeah, you can go in both ends. I forget what it's
Yeah,
called. Yeah.
I haven't had that one yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but or maybe I need that one. I don't know.
Coming up
But yeah,
soon. I think at 40 you're supposed to start going, and
yeah,
so you got a few
yeah,
years.
yeah. So I had this endoscopy, and they took a biopsy from my stomach tissue, and they just detected some Helicobacter pylori, which is some kind of bacteria that you can
E.
have
coli.
uh,
Yeah.
E. coli, yeah,
Yeah.
from eating like
Yeah. Anything.
food,
It's in everything.
yeah, or anything
Lettuce.
that's contaminated. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I had the treatment for Helicol, but that is the symptoms, but I mean, I'm still having those symptoms. So I'm at that point that, man, I'm just, I just want to, I don't know if I need to make a cleanse, like an energetic cleanse, or I don't know. I'm just like annoyed by this stuff, but I try to to keep going on because you are having this physical discomfort that in some way keeps you abstracted from what's happening in life. I mean, I tend to be like angry, because I'm feeling that pain and I'm annoyed by it, and uh, I don't know. It's just
Yeah, I can imagine. It's got to wear on you over time, and especially when you think you're going to find an answer, and then start to see good results, and then next thing you know, you're back to square one. I've been there with
yeah,
other things, and I know how helpless it feels when you want to get better and you can't.
yeah, and this pandemic hasn't helped at all because imagine having to deal with depression and withdrawal and all these physical issues through this pandemic, together with anxiety because you're not going out, because you're not, uh, you know. So it's been pretty hard. So what I try to do is do some meditation. I got into some Hapkido classes, which is similar to
Judo?
Aikido, to
Okay.
Judo. Yeah.
Okay.
So, uh, I mean, I try to stay relaxed by doing so, and things are doing pretty good. And now what I'm focusing on is more into trying to take the most of my hex and take like most of my gains. I mean, not take, like, once I choose to take some gains, I'm not I'm going to expend it wisely,
Yes. Yeah. Be
and it's
responsible.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm saving like for so I can build a business. I'm super interested in software as a service business and real estate projects. And I've been talking with some friend of mine that's an architect, and we are starting this new company, this real estate development company. So,
That's
well,
awesome.
those are
Congratulations.
my plans. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I try to keep telling people, like, there's this thing. It's called Hex. You have to get into it. The community is great. It has isolated code. It's a great product. Speaking from experience, I know what compound interest is like. So, I mean, at sometimes I just don't get it. It's hard for me to understand why it's so hard for people to get into Hex. I mean, it's just compound interest, man. It's just trustless interest. Why is it so hard for you to get it?
You know what I think? I think for me, you have to find it yourself. I don't know if somebody can show another person about it. Like you can tell somebody initially, but anything like this is always been too good to be true. So no matter who shows it to you or explains it to you at first, you have that feeling of like, come on, But when you find it yourself, right, and you start, and especially if you found Richard first, if you found Richard first, I can imagine how easily everybody processed this, because you see this man that spent his
I
time.
hear you. I hear you. Just I'm gonna open the
Yeah, go
door
ahead.
real fast.
Yeah,
Yeah, I hear you.
you hear this this man that spends his time helping other people and talks great detail about cryptocurrency, its pitfalls, its strengths, and then starts a cryptocurrency. So I can imagine how somebody that's a day one Hexakin, somebody like yourself, Jay, that's known Richard's videos for years, you must absorb that material very easily. I came onto the scene and didn't know anything about crypto, didn't know Richard, but I was easily able to gravitate towards everything and be magnetically pulled because the amount of information, it's just raw and real and true. And you know, I'm a do my own research type of person, and I also pride myself on my honesty, my integrity, and my character. And even though I've been a drug addict and an alcoholic, I've never scammed anyone or taken their money or taken advantage of my friends. So like if I spend my time talking about something to my friends or family, um, there would be no past history to think like this would be anything but a good thing, you know. But I've
Mhm.
also had tough experiences with close friends and family where I try to take the time to talk about it, and I just really have come to the conclusion that it's so special still at this stage that it's like uncovering a gift to find it, and you can try to give those gifts away to people, but it's just it's crazy, you know, that it takes an, a leap of faith, some sort of epiphany, you know, and
Yeah.
I don't imagine, I can't imagine why people don't see what I see, but it seems to be changing a little bit. Every time we reach new all-time highs, you know, I had my first stake end this past week. Uh, didn't sell any hex until today, until right before I came on stream, and I had limit
Mhm.
orders set, limit sells. So I'm going to start selling a very small amount every time we move up a certain amount in price, and I'm going to do it in perpetuity. Uh, and I did this all um, because last year I was just in the right place in the right time, and my mind was open, and this community existed, and you know, I came in, and now I'm here, and I'm so grateful to be in the place that I am in the community. And I have, you know, younger family like my nephew. My brother was just talking to my father yesterday about coming into Hex with his son. You know, I'm looking forward to growing. I love how it's happened organically, and that I didn't have to like sell anything to anybody, you know, because um, it's just it's more special to me than that, you know. And I know you're supposed to share it too, still. So it's like it's a conundrum. It's a catch-22. How do you
Yeah.
share something with somebody that they should find on their own? You know.
I I think well, I think that what you just said is like a good strategy to uh, enjoy some of your gains. And I mean, not. I bet it's not just for pleasure. I mean,
No,
it's
not
maybe
yet.
a strategy
I
for
got a while
to
to
have an
go
income.
before. Yeah, it's gonna be amazing, right? Like to my story is just miraculous. It's absolutely miraculous. I'm so blessed. Everything has been working because I know it will, and I put my faith in God, right? Everything's too much for me to carry on my back, so I don't. I just don't. I don't carry anything, and I go about my business, and I try to do the right thing. And I am so close to running out of money that there's no money in my bank account, that my bills have reached their absolute capacity, right? Like I am right at that spot where, like, for us to be right here, which is the mark. The reason I'm selling Hex on this schedule is because this is the plan that I started a year ago. I put a pie in the sky number out there, and I said, if we ever get to that, that's when I'm going to start selling Hex. I had no idea that it would be just 1 year from now, right? And so I'm going
Yeah.
to peel off my interest from my first stake, and I put a tweet out about this, but this is miraculous. I put $1,250 into a stake 1 year ago, locked it up for 1 year, made 200 times my money, right? So with that one stake, I took out that one stake. I sent half of our total investment in Hex, my principal. I took half that original principal and I sent it to my wife. I also took a chunk out from the interest so that I have perpetual income for the next year that I'm going to sell off on limit sells through Matcha, which is how I did it so far. My one that went through.
Mhm.
I also was able to acquire more than 60 T shares going forward. So I increased my staking percentage, my league number, you know, how many T
Mhm.
shares I
Mhm.
have. And I also was able to set up both my daughters with the original $1,250 stake that this all started with. So I have
Wow.
income for a year, paid half my principal back, increased my position by 60 T shares, and those two stakes, right? And so anybody that's thinking that they're too late to get into Hex, I knew I wasn't too late, but I had feelings of, wow, those guys they got in so much cheaper than I did. I can't even imagine what it feels like, you know, blah, blah, blah. And now I know, like, my nephew's just getting in and he's seeing his first 2x, his 3x on his money. And I put myself in his shoes and I imagine, like, wow, I wish I had a could 200x, right? And like, I missed the boat, you might think for a second, but like, I know I didn't miss the boat. My nephew soon is going to know he didn't miss the boat. He knows already. But this thing is just going to, the cycle continues to keep going. And I'm still building my ladder. I'm still filling in the places, but like, I feel so incredible, you know, that this, it's real now, right? Like it's all paper until you take some gains. And so I think I did it in a responsible way. I'm happy, and like, I'm electric about it. Like, when I look at my Excel sheet of everything that I
Mhm.
have, all my stakes and the amount of T shares and the amount of Hex, I am so like grateful that this weekend came and that stake ended, and now look at what happened. And now, you know, I just want to thank everybody that was here that influenced me, that taught me how to build a staking ladder, that taught me about perpetual passive income, you know, for the cutthroats, for RG, for Hexologists, for Crypto Coffee, all these guys setting up the infrastructure that I learned in, you know. And I feel
Yeah.
like we all have college degrees now, you know, and it's just amazing, you know. It's in
And
cryptocurrency. I mean,
and isn't Crypto Coffee? I saw him that he's going to open this university with Jim
funding Jim, Gary.
funding Jim with Gary. They're
I'm not
opening
sure.
like
I
some
didn't.
kind of Hex Academy or something like that.
Oh,
It
okay.
seems
I know
pretty much
funding Jim.
interesting.
I know what he's got going, and I know Coffee was looking for real estate with him, and I know Coffee has a course, an online course, for any Hexicans out there that want to take you know, a course about
Yeah.
cryptocurrency and Hex. So it sounds like they're combining the two, maybe, and I just didn't put two and two together that that's what they're doing. But
Yeah.
that'll be
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah,
I think they're doing
yeah.
so. And I remember that the first guy that I met at YouTube was Huddledog,
Yeah.
and he actually teach me how to build those ladders, and
How to
it
build the
was,
ladders. Yeah.
yeah, how to build ladders, and it was like eye opening, you know. It was like, okay, so if I stake at and well, one thing that's been causing a lot of issues in my mind, and I think that for most of the Mexicans, Hexicans out there, it's the uh, network fees that we're having right now on the
The
Ethereum
gas.
network.
Yeah.
Yeah, the gas
Yeah.
fees. I mean, it's crazy, you know.
Yeah.
I was talking with Wales only the other day, and I was telling him that what my personal strategy is, every time that I get some money from that I receive some money from a customer, I turn it into Hex and just use it as if it was fiat money, as if it was liquid money, you know, because even if Hex price goes down or goes up, it's my opportunity cost, you know.
Yeah.
It, but Hex tends to go up, all up and to the right. So uh, that's what I do. But at this time, uh, I think that the wisest thing that you can do is to stay for the longer until Pulse Chain is released. because gas fees are going to eat uh, most of your
Profit.
gains.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you are like a shrimp or an oyster, I think that that's the smartest way to go. But I mean, everything is can do whatever they want with their money, but that will be my recommendation.
Yeah, and there's charts out there, right, for everybody at home. There's gas station charts where you can see Firebund's site Hex.vision shows gas prices that fluctuate throughout the week, throughout the days, what hours are good across the world for you to spend gas on Ethereum. So for me, I've learned that gas in the United States is cheapest on the weekends. So going forward, I simply put my stakes to end on a Friday or Saturday night. I know when that time comes, it's going to be not the cheapest that it could be all weekend, but I might entertain it. So I had about $100 worth of Ethereum in my wallet 2 weeks ago going into this end stake. And I was watching every day. I was checking. I would see what it would be. It would range from $50 to $150. And I was thinking like, oh man, I hope I don't get caught up, and I hope I have enough ETH, and like I knew that also I could wait a week or two, and not, I can wait 2 full weeks without getting penalized. So when the time came, my first stake came to end. I had $100 in my wallet. It needed $200, so I couldn't execute it. But I knew that within the next 12 hours, I'd have a couple more opportunities. So I did wait about 12 hours in the morning till I woke up. So maybe about 8 o'clock in the morning, Eastern Standard Time. I paid $100 to end stake my 1 year stake. So it's much more expensive than I thought. And depending on how much hex you're working with, it might be prohibitive for you to do that.
Yeah.
So I know what you mean. I know it can be pretty wild. So I was grateful that it all worked out, just like everything else, just like the price being what it is today for me personally to start enjoying my gains, right? My gains, my hex flex is I'm going to pay down my debt. I'm going to get my wife and my girls a place to live hopefully soon. They've been living with our extended family, my wife's sister, for well over a year now, and I'm struggling. I'm looking for a place. So we're going from this chaotic world that we were separated, and through my actions, my addiction, my injury caused all this fallout, and now here, like, we're putting the pieces back together. And I wouldn't be here happy and healthy if it wasn't for this community, if it wasn't for Hex. And it's everybody that's come before us that's just been positive and been willing to give that information away. If you notice, I don't pay for information. I'm not part of a paid group, or I don't send, you can tip people, but there's nobody that I'm aware of that's charging for Hex streams, right? So it's free content, just free content, free content, free content. And that's what makes our community different, is we're not trying to push anything on anybody. Because if anybody does, somebody will just usurp that position immediately and do it for free, and that's what's beautiful about this organism that we have growing here, is it's not like anything else in the world. Everybody else wants what the Hexicans have, what our community has, all the marketing of any other coins, wishes that they could do what we do. They would throw any amount of money at it, and you can't buy Hexicans, right? Like you can tip Hexicans, but you can't buy Hexicans. And that's what I love about this space, about doing this show. So, Crypto J, I want to say thank you. We got a little bit longer to keep going, and we're winding down time wise. I just want to make an announcement. There's no Discourse Syndicate tonight. If everybody didn't know, we're taking the night off. So just want to, really say thank you, Jay, for coming on here, and I'm excited to see what you're going to do next in the community. That you have you said your friend you're hooking up, and you're going to start an architectural real estate, right? Real estate firm.
Yep. Real estate company. Yeah.
Yep. And if you could catalog that in any way, share it with us, and spread positivity, helping other people, and do it with every once in a while mention Hex. Like that's kind of what we're all doing in our streams. People traveling the world, showing vacation blogs. Vince is here, so I've been waiting for Vince to come on. We're going to wind down a little bit, so good timing, Vince. Thank you for joining us. I wanted to bring Vince on, Jay, and have a little bit, close out the show with a little party with the three of us, if that's cool with you.
It's cool. I'm fine with it.
All right,
Let's
brother.
go.
So here's Crypto Vince, my man, Crypto Vince.
Hey
How's
guys.
it going, brother?
Hey, it's going
How
good.
you doing, Vince? How you
Hey,
doing?
Crypto J. Nice to finally meet you, man.
I know, right?
Yeah. Been waiting for this
Awesome.
opportunity for a long time.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mm,
Yeah. Well, so were you able to watch our stream?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was watching from the beginning. So, yeah. You get a really amazing story, and yeah, it was hard not to almost get emotional myself. So yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, I've told Joe before, but I've grown up with my fair share of like medical problems and stuff. So I totally understand where you're coming from, and yeah, just
Yeah.
glad Hex is able to help you. So
Yeah. So far, it's been doing good. I mean, I can't complain.
yeah, yeah, can't either.
I just am so grateful for that moment. For Vince for picking you, Jay, for him, like it's to get to where we are today from that story. For me I was just excited right back then to like promote anything, do anything, and then the idea of like giving to someone else to help, I was like, that's beautiful. That's what Ski Cat did to me. Like I want to give away a certain amount of Hex. That's what I will do here in this community. I will give away a certain amount of Hex because somebody did that for me.
Yeah.
And so when I gave it to Vince and then Vince gave it away, I'm like, this is the best.
Yeah, honestly, like Ski Cat was, my part of my inspiration too. So yeah, shout out to Ski Cat for being so generous. Yeah.
And what I always tell people, like there are in other countries, I think that I touched this point with you on our last Green Room talk, Joe, is that like, for example, many people that are trying to get into Hex that are living in third world countries, such as I am, I always tell them that, okay, come on, you gotta know that even if you're not able to invest an amount of money into Hex by speaking of your national currency, like your local currency, you will always get more money out of it because, like, for example, it's not the same for me. I mean, if I'm just able to purchase, like, I don't know, 2,000 Hex, like today, and some people may consider it, but I'm looking at all these Hexbot notifications, and I see how people are buying like millions of Hex, and it like brings them down. But I always tell them, like, dude, no, you're looking at it like through the wrong glass.
Through the wrong lens.
The wrong lens. Yeah.
Through the wrong lens. Yeah, because for example, when I started like doing my stakes and everything, Hex used to be worth, let me do the quick math right here. It was like 0.004 $0.04, which were at that time 8 cents of my national currency of pesos.
Wow.
Like Mexican pesos. So it was nothing back then, like really nothing. But now, like, it's way higher. Are we at new all-time highs right now? Like,
yeah,
we are. Yeah,
actually, yeah, we just broke 25 cents while you guys were on stream.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I wasn't aware. So it is a quarter, which is 0.25, and let's say 1,000 hex.
And so just while we were doing this, Jenkins believes we're in the middle of a five movement Elliott wave, something like that, and basically us hitting the 25 cents is the third part of the wave, going to drop back down to 21 and a half to retest, and then shoot up past 30. So we hit the 25, and that's the third part. So here we come to 30. You know,
awesome.
Wow.
Go ahead, Jay. What
So
were you
well, yeah. 1,000 hex are now worth $250.
Oof.
Am I right?
Yeah, it's amazing.
So it's pretty much a difference, and people need to realize that about this. People need to understand that there's no late to get into hex.
Right.
People are always like, am I too late to get into hex? There's always time to get into hex. There's always a good time.
The price appreciation is amazing, and it's something it's hard to describe unless you've lived through it. So I just wanted to be in hex because I saw that you could make a good return as far as the APY, right? So like even without price appreciation, this mechanism is extremely attractive. And then if you put that price appreciation on top of it, then you get the real compound interest effect, and
that's a lot.
It's amazing. So you hear OGs tell you DCA and you can do it, with 1/10 of the strength that they have, but you keep doing it anyways. And then before you know it, the OGs are off retiring, and next thing you know, your bags are the big ones that you're telling the guys to do the same, and they're buying 1/10 of what your bags are. So to the new guys out there, just keep no financial advice obviously, but the reason I'm sitting here today is because I DCA'd in. I haven't stopped. Bought as late as last week. I thought the price was going to go from 15 down to 10 again, so I made the first mistake. The first time I didn't buy because I thought I was learning stuff and I thought I could show some patience, but I've always just had to pull the trigger and buy my hex. And this time I didn't. I told my dad not to. We missed out on 12-cent hex. Price started pumping, moving up. I got my dad in at 17 and me in at 18. So I'll never make that mistake again. Any time for me and my family is a good time to buy hex. So 25 cents is here, everybody.
Yeah. I know for me, like I've been doing some buys lately too, like really small buys, but I've also made that same mistake. Like I'll wait because I'm expecting it to, go down a little bit or dip a little bit. But, I always end up regretting that decision because, like sometimes it does dip and, it just gets bought back up so quickly. So, you just need to, I think, hex is just so different that you just need to buy it whenever you get a chance. So,
Totally.
Yeah. Well, guys,
I remember Jay, that.
I just wanted to see, did you have anything that you didn't touch on? Because I'd like to just ask you a few things about like Pulse and Hex and stuff. But if we're cool with talking just straight up about crypto, I just have some questions for you about your expectation of when you basically what do you think of Pulse, right? And what was your experience through the sacrifice phase, and what do you see going forward in the next year that you're excited about?
Okay, so my expectations about Pulse?
Yeah, you have none, right? I'm sure, but
yeah. Well, I think it's what we're gonna see. What's gonna happen? It's gonna be like mind blowing, because we're not just some BSC like project. It's not like like BSC, but it's like the full system state, Ethereum's full system state. So, for example, I remember that I used to invest in SNX because it yielded interest and you could mint some more coins from time to time, yada yada. But what happened to that coin now? You're not able to mint anything, because if you want to mint any of your coins, you have to perform a transaction, and that transaction is going to eat most of your gains, like crazy. I was minting like, I don't know, maybe it was not a big amount, but it was like maybe $25 every 2 weeks. And now even if you wanted to use their product, just the transaction cost is going to eat all of your profit. So that coin became unusual. That project failed on the Ethereum network because thank you NFTs. No, just kidding. NFTs are screwing up the network. That's what I think, that these gas fees that we are experiencing right now is just because of the NFT mania.
Actually,
And
I think you're right, because on when you go to Etherscan, etherscan.io, you can actually check. There's like a little section called gas guzzlers, where you can check which applications are using the most gas. And lately, I've been seeing that OpenSea, the marketplace for NFTs, is always like the number one top spot. So
Wow.
yeah, so
you're right about that. Yeah.
So people are playing these nonsense games on like
Yeah.
riding the Ethereum network and screwing us with the gas fees.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. So for sure, I think that Pulse Chain there's going to be a lot of adoption because just of that. I mean, SNX was a somewhat good project, but it became unusual on the Ethereum network, and I really think that they're like moving to Pulse Chain and many other
SNX,
projects.
is that actually called Synthetics SNX?
Yeah, SNX.
Okay, yeah, so that is a great
yeah.
project, and I know that DCC is very excited about Synthetics, and has been for a very long time, and now he's reinvigorated by it. Probably what's happening with Pulse, and I can see the potential now. I didn't realize that that's what you were talking about. Yeah, that's a great project that's going to be on Pulse.
Yeah, I mean, it is a good project, and I liked it until I got into Hex.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. Another thing, it's gonna be awesome, but because, for example, to my country that we're talking about. I mean, I don't gain in dollars, in US dollars. You know, my national currency is way devaluated and fucked up, way more than USD. But this will allow many other peoples and many other countries to get into Hex because of the gas fees. Because I remember, as I told you before, I tried to become a dolphin by speaking of the leagues.
Yeah.
But I went through this medical stuff and everything, and it was a matter of, I think it was 2 months, and I wasn't able. There was no way for me to become a dolphin anymore. Like I was way late, just because of price appreciation and gas fees. So now that Pulse Chain is taking over, I mean, it's gonna be like, wow, amazing.
Yeah, I agree. I love to hear things that I never considered before as well about just currencies outside the United States dollar being even more devalued than the United States dollar. Therefore, it's that much more volatile. Therefore, it'd be that much more beneficial for the citizens of those currencies that utilize them to get into a stable coin like Hex that just goes, up and to the right. So that's pretty
because
cool.
For example, I wanted to open I wanted to purchase, like, I don't know, maybe let's say 10,000 Hex back then. When before there was another NFT mania, I think it was back in May. No, maybe before. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, when the guy made the Burble, he did 3,000 piece Burple. I don't know.
Yeah, around there. Yeah. And I remember that I used to be paying $7 transactions, $4 transactions, $3 transactions, But after that, I wasn't able to pay for those cheap transactions. I needed to pay like most of my principal went to pay just for the transaction cost.
Yeah.
So that fucked me up.
Yeah.
But
You know how
now that
lucky we all are that during the
Mm.
sacrifice phase is when it dipped, because I was preparing to only be able to afford to do one sacrifice because I was expecting $100 to $200 gas prices.
Mm.
And somehow we just got into the point where like my sacrifices cost like $3 to $6 each. So I was able to
wow,
send it on multiple levels, much more. And I just want to like take a minute
Yeah.
and be grateful for that fact, because that did
Yeah.
change my
Mm.
entry point. It allowed me to be more
Yeah.
fluid. And how spoiled was I too during that time? I was sending $50 to my dad, taking $30 for my mom, sending it back over here because it would be $1 to send the ETH. So like
yeah,
I didn't even have to think. I just sent stuff,
Mm.
and it was so
Yeah.
like so freeing. It was how I've never experienced that before. So it
Mm.
was just so
Yeah.
awesome. And then all of a sudden, like one day, nope, that's over. $50 to send a hex.
Mm.
I remember that back then. I
Yeah.
used to be like playing with all these projects, and I was into NFTs because I realized that it was like uh, a fast way to get to get
Quick
people
money, fast way to make a quick
from
buck.
from yeah, but from dumb people. What I'm trying to tell you here is like, for example, I remember that I minted some stupid. It was really, really, really stupid, ugliest flamingo picture it was a picture that I took at Los Cabos, and I just like placed some Bitcoin coin icons over there, and I
Yeah.
sold it for 3 or 4 Ethereums back
Wow.
then.
Wow.
But I reinvested the other Ethereum into Hex, and
Hex.
I'm not going into NFTs anymore. I think it's a dumb decision to make. It's a waste of your money. Uh, what I actually think about NFTs is uh, they can be valuable just if just you are a real artist, and I mean like a painter and a guy that does sculpting and everything, and you send the actual work to the owner of that NFT. But that's it. If you're purchasing like rock pictures and ape pictures and fluffy things pictures, I don't think you're being smart there.
Yeah, it's great for musicians. So if you know your Freddie Quotes, Corey, the investor, right? Any of the Black Crypto. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Everybody making music. Trappiavelli. Who else? Who else in our community is rapping? Uh, Anybody that is though,
There's so
right?
many. Yeah.
You can create a one of one legendary NFT, and you could have that encompass the entirety of mechanical royalties, distribution rights, every copyright that you can imagine you could put. Or you could make 1,000 NFTs and have it just be the right to replay it digitally, right? So if I make a
Mhm.
Hexagon Anthem, I can make a one of one, and I can sell it to a very happy collector that's just going to own its rights in its entirety. Or
Mm.
for a little bit less, I could make another 1,000 people happy, and you guys pay the creator Freddie Quotes. We guys pay the creator Freddie Quotes to utilize his artwork, and there's a limited amount of people that would do that, and we get to play it in perpetuity as long as we want because we own that NFT, so we can publicly play that song. So I can use it as my intro. I can, it's limited though, and so there's
Mm.
there's everything in between. And so if you are a creator of art in the real world, whether it doesn't matter the medium, the NFTs do have a use case in that world. And so I think
Yep.
it's worth exploring to any artists out there that aren't familiar with it. The
Mm.
the ones that Richard shits on, I mean, are it's the casino style. It's a
Yeah.
bunch of junk, right? And you
Mm.
and you might be hit the lottery and win and do very well, but that's why people have a talk bad about NFTs is because of that segment of it. But that doesn't mean that NFTs as a whole don't have an extremely valuable use case.
Yeah, like for example, I got this the a friend's dad. Uh, he's a real artist, and he's been on Chicago, like this exposition rooms. And I mean, he paints, and he's an amazing painter, and he's somewhat a famous people person. And the other day he contacted me, and because he knew that I was into crypto, and we had this we chatted about it, and he told me that he was really interested into getting into open ocean and to this NFT stuff, because he told me like, I'm having a rough time trying to sell my art here, like the on the real world, because
Physical, yeah.
yeah, it's not, I can't
Ship it and package it.
no, like it's not that easy. It's easier to get people to know your art digitally than send it physically, than trying
Yeah.
to be on an exposition because of the COVID and all this stuff. And he's having
Yeah.
a rough financial time. He's not doing good.
Hmm.
And I was like, well, it's actually a good idea that you get into open ocean and start doing your stuff right there. But just if you like are willing to share your real art, because that's what you do. You're a true artist. And he's really super excited about all this. And I also told him about Pulse Chain. I told him to wait until Pulse Chain's release, because he wouldn't. He's not going to need to pay for all those crazy transaction fees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't survive on Ethereum.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's crazy. And
Yeah.
like, for example, I get some liquid hex that I need to pay some to the paycheck tomorrow, to my designer's paycheck. I need to pay for it like tomorrow.
You pay him in
And
Hex.
no.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say that's
But
amazing. Okay.
yeah, I need to
No.
convert it, like to do the conversion, and
yeah,
I tried to do it today, and it was like, man, it hurts.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
you know. But once we got
Absolutely.
Pulse Chain, it's gonna be mind blowing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's gonna be
it's a
mad.
disproportional tax to people that have less income, right? So if you're making
Yeah.
$1,000 transaction, $100 is 10%. If you're making $100,000 transaction, it's 1%. So
Yeah.
you know, obviously, the less money we have, the more it affects us, which is tough. You know, because we want to. I know that's the boat I'm in. Like I just said, I'm like making it into this new area where now I have some hex to sell. But it was last week when I was thinking, what are we gonna do? What do I do if it stays $200 for a long time? You know, what am I gonna do? Ask
Yeah.
somebody for some ETH for a little while. You know, for a week.
And I mean, I wouldn't mind having to pay like $2,000 for 15 years stake. I wouldn't mind, but I'm not in that position right now, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
So now I do mind, and I need to be careful with what I choose to do, and that's what I tell people. Like, if you want to get into Hex, my suggestion to you is stake longer, bigger and longer, and start building your ladder like backwards. You know, like starting for 15 years from now, then 14 years from now, then 13, and there you go. To me, that's a
Yeah.
better way.
For sure, and I appreciate the comments, guys, and I don't disagree or agree with some of them. I know for me, like I'm gonna regret selling Hex because I've worked so hard to get it, and because it's impacted my life so much. And I like to collect things. I've always been a collector, and whatever I really collect is my passion. So it went from GI Joes to Magic cards to adult type things. And now I like to collect Hex, right? And I have a special passion about it. But I'm not going to be shy about selling my interest because I have 99% complete with my 15-year ladder. So with my stakes that come out, I'm going to fill in those spots. But I am so blessed to have perpetual income now. And I understand I could reinvest all of it, but I do have bills to pay, right? And like my wife would love to have a place for us to all live. So like I get delayed gratification, and I get it's always going to be more worth more later. But I don't think any of us should be too hard on ourselves either. Like if you're the guy that bought the Bitcoin pizza and now it's worth whatever, that's just a story, because it wasn't really worth that then. That's why you spent it like it was nothing. So if you want to go back and spend $50 on a Hex pizza, that's a great story, right? But that, you know what I mean? I don't mean to say it again twice,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I want to set an example that my Hexicans I looked up to, they gave me this information. I'm now putting it to use, and I love the fact that like I am so empowered right now by what just happened, that I know this information, and now my situation's better. I have some cash flow, paying off some bills. Like it's just amazing. So shout out to everybody that showed me the way. And if everyone could relax a little bit on the materialism hex flexes, those are driving me nuts, because I'm trying to leave that world. But you guys are making it very
please.
difficult.
But I mean,
Such nice, beautiful stuff. It's the
Yeah.
cars, the clothes,
Yeah.
the watches, the houses, the vehicles. What isn't Hex doing? And for a minute, I was getting a little salty, right? Like when it all first started, because I wasn't getting anything yet, and I'm like, what's going on here? Driving the price down, this and that, and like now I get it. Like now I hope I can exude confidence and share my story about what I've just been through, because it's amazing. Like we're not affecting the price, like. And when we go out and we share what we're doing and we feel the way we feel, imagine how many people we can onboard now. So don't get upset with the OGs for selling, don't get upset for anybody buying a Ferrari, or that's not how the price works. And if David Morales is here, David knows I'm the first person to complain about that type of stuff. As he just typed in, I just saw it on a StreamYard. It was a minute ago on YouTube, but perfect timing, David. So David knows I'm the first person to talk about that type of stuff. So enjoy it, guys. We've come a long way. If you're just getting in now, hold on. We go through 80% dips. Those are buying opportunities. Your first one is going to absolutely scare the life out of you. And then, you realize how it goes, and, keep joining these streams, keep reaching out to different members of the community, see how you can get involved. We used to say a lot when I first started, like, I'd love to inspire somebody to come on stream and start streaming. So I didn't have that skill set. I didn't really know anybody to reach out to. But everyone in our community is so accommodating that from the top down, Richard Hart to the generals and the captains themselves, would be more than willing to help. So I gotta get going, guys. Just call it a night for the night. I appreciate you guys hanging on here. I want to thank you, Crypto J, for coming on and sharing your story.
Thank you, Joe.
They're so impactful and so timely for me, and that's all. I just feel so fulfilled, and I know that I'm on the right path. And Jay, if you didn't reach out and make this happen, I wouldn't have this feeling. So I want to really thank you, and I can't thank you without thanking Vince. Vince, you set a great example in this community.
No, and I really wanted to reach out with you both guys, because I wanted you to know that that it wasn't just like a fake profile, and that I wasn't a real person. And I really wanted to thank you both, because you really did have such a great impact in my life. And I wanted to personally thank you. I mean, and I will never forget it. Trust me, guys. And I will always be like thankful for that.
Thank you, Crypto J. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Vince, you're the man, brother. I love that you're here, and you bring a lot to the community. And
thanks.
This is the evidence of it. Your heart is gold, brother, and we wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for you. So thank you, Vince.
And guys, I will try to get better at my English. So
that's fine, man.
If you are willing to invite me to some other streams,
of course, yeah,
I'm down
for sure.
Absolutely. So Real quick, just before we close out, we'll go around and see, just like what you're saying, Jay. Where can we find you, Crypto Jay? On Twitter? Is it the best place to reach out to you?
Oh yeah.
Okay. And
It's
you're at Crypto Jay?
Yeah, at Crypto J. Well, no, it's Crypto Mexican. It's MH
right. Yeah.
Mexican. Crypto
MH.
Hex.
Yeah.
MH.
Yeah.
M
Crypto
Hexican.
M Hexican.
Crypto M Hexican.
Crypto
Yeah.
M Hexican. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that would be great to see you on some more streams, Jay. And Friday night Discourse Syndicate Hangout's a good one to go to get comfortable on. But yeah, reach out to people, and I'd love to start seeing you, on a recurring basis. That's amazing, and we can always do a follow-up show. That would be great. So,
cool.
Yeah,
thank you.
I try to.
Vince, how about you? What are you working on, and where can we find you, Vince?
Oh, yeah, you can find me at on Twitter and Telegram at CryptoVince369. Just like how it's written here.
Cool.
Yeah.
Find
not
you
much
on the
really.
Hexasians, right?
Yeah, Hexasians and Hexasians on Monday mornings and Thursday mornings at 9 Eastern.
And then you got a small little show that nobody really knows about on Friday with a couple other guys, right?
Yeah.
What's that
Hex
called?
Happy Hour.
Hex Happy Hour.
On,
Hex
on
Happy Hour,
Cabana.
right?
Yeah, Cabana News
Yeah.
channel. Yeah.
My favorite show of the week. So if everyone hasn't checked out, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fridays.
5 Eastern.
That's the best. That's the best content in crypto, as far
really
as I'm
fun
concerned.
show. Yeah.
So I just want to thank everybody, and I am Exo Joe, right? Had to get the name because I got an internship that was beyond Hex, and I learned a lot there. And I think the thing I learned the most is I'm proud that Hex is in my name as Joe Hexotic, and I don't want to be Exo Joe, right? So Exo Joe is my brand of design.
Design, right?
Whatever I do professionally is design. That'll be Exo Joe related, but
Yeah.
I'm proud to be Joe Hexotic. I got to see the belly of the beast, and I'm very grateful for my opportunities and experience. So I'm trying to go back to a little bit rebranding. I know Papa B called out the saturation of the colors on my background is a little much for Papa B. So I'll work on that. Thank you for everybody for being here. If you don't know who Joe Hexotic is, you can follow me at joehexotic.com. And you can also follow ExoJoe at exojoe.io. So I just want to thank everybody for being here. I'm going to close out with the little ching ching rendition again. So take care, everybody, and have a good night, guys.
Take
Thank
care.
you, guys.
Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like, be sure to share, be sure to comment. Say it. Say it. Say it. Say it. Say it. Motherfucking jackpot.